Vince McMahon has a history of firing WWE superstars both in storylines and in real life. He has a reputation for quickly dismissing anyone he believes could harm his company's image, regardless of the severity of the issue. In this video, we take a look at wrestlers who were fired on the spot. In 2010, Serena Dee joined CM Punk's Straight Edge Society, a villainous group in WWE that aggressively promoted the straight edge lifestyle. Deeb even shaved her head live on television to demonstrate her commitment to the cause. However, her time with the company ended abruptly after she was arrested for a BUI, or boating under the influence, later that year. This incident clashed with her straight-edge persona, leading to her swift release. Years later, Deeb reflected on her firing in an interview with the Washington Post, saying, "Honestly, I consider both of my releases from WWE two of the best things that have ever happened to me. It was a devastating call, but I had this sense of relief. That chapter had to close because I was heading in a really bad direction." She continued, explaining that the experience ultimately led her to a positive outcome. The caveat was, if you take this job, you have to be at peace with not wrestling. You're out of the ring. There are no coach players here. It was a great opportunity, and for me it was like making peace with WWE as well. Paul London's WWE release in 2008, while not as dramatic as some others, left many fans perplexed. A talented high flyer and popular tag team wrestler, London's departure seemed to stem from a combination of backstage perception, a changing company direction, and perhaps one infamous smile. London joined WWE in 2003 and quickly made a name for himself with his impressive aerial maneuvers and unique personality. He found success in the tag team division, capturing the WWE Tag Team Championship alongside both Billy Kidman and Brian Kendrick. His partnership with Kendrick was particularly popular, with their quirky personalities and exciting in-ring style making them fan favorites. However, London's perceived lack of seriousness and his tendency to deviate from the WWE's preferred style reportedly rubbed some the wrong way. He was known for his playful demeanor and his penchant for incorporating humor into his matches, which may not have aligned with the company's desire for a more serious product at the time. The infamous smile incident further cemented this perception. During a somber segment commemorating the death of Mr. McMahon's character, London was caught on camera with a slight smile. While he later explained that he was simply trying to stay in character, the incident was perceived by some as disrespectful and unprofessional. By 2008, WWE was moving towards a more streamlined and less over-the-top presentation. London's high-flying, somewhat unorthodox style may have been seen as less fitting for this new direction. Additionally, his tag team with Kendrick had dissolved, leaving him without a clear storyline or direction. In November 2008, London was released from his WWE contract. While the exact reasons were never officially disclosed, it's likely that a combination of factors contributed to his departure. His perceived immaturity, the smile incident, and a shift in company direction all played a role. Despite his release, London continued to wrestle on the independent circuit, showcasing his talent and entertaining fans around the world. His WWE run, while ultimately cut short, is fondly remembered for its exciting matches and unique characters. His story serves as a reminder of the subjective nature of success in professional wrestling and the challenges faced by those who dare to be different. Emma's 2014 firing from WWE was a strange and short-lived affair, ultimately boiling down to a misunderstanding at a Walmart self-checkout. While in Hartford, Connecticut for a WWE Raw taping, Emma was arrested for shoplifting an iPad case worth $21.14. The incident quickly made headlines, and WWE reacted swiftly by announcing her release. However, this decision was reversed just hours later, making for a very confusing day for wrestling fans. The initial firing seemed harsh, especially considering the relatively minor nature of the offense. It was later revealed that Emma had attempted to pay for the item using the self-checkout, but inadvertently missed scanning the iPad case. Her lawyer attributed the incident to a simple mistake while navigating the self-checkout process. WWE's quick reversal on the firing decision was likely influenced by several factors. Firstly, the public perception of firing a talent for such a minor offense, especially one that appeared to be accidental, could have been damaging to the company's image. Secondly, there was a precedent of WWE overlooking more serious offenses committed by other wrestlers, such as DUI charges. Firing Emma for a seemingly innocent mistake while retaining those with more serious infractions could have led to accusations of unfair treatment. Ultimately, Emma was reinstated and even appeared in court the next day, where she was sentenced to 1 day of community service. The incident, while embarrassing and disruptive, ultimately had little long-term impact on her WWE career. She continued to wrestle for the company for several more years before eventually departing in 2017, and a brief return from 2022 until 2023. The incident serves as a reminder of the scrutiny faced by WWE performers and the swift consequences that can follow even minor missteps. It also highlights the complexities of managing a roster of diverse individuals and the need for consistent and fair disciplinary action. Nailz. The story of Nailz's firing from WWE in 1992 is one of the most infamous and controversial incidents in wrestling history, involving allegations of physical assault and legal battles. Nailz, former AWA wrestler Kevin Kelly, debuted in WWE with a menacing ex-con gimmick. He was pushed as a formidable force, racking up victories and even engaging in a feud with The Undertaker. However, his time with the company came to an abrupt and ugly end due to a backstage altercation with Vince McMahon himself. The incident stemmed from a dispute over pay. Nailz was reportedly unhappy with his compensation for SummerSlam 1992, where he defeated Virgil. He confronted McMahon about the issue, and the conversation quickly escalated into a heated argument. Accounts of what transpired next vary, but it is widely reported that Nailz physically attacked McMahon, choking him and throwing him to the ground. Other WWE employees intervened, pulling Nailz off McMahon and escorting him out of the building. Nailz was immediately fired, and the incident led to a series of lawsuits between him and WWE. Nailz filed a wrongful termination lawsuit alleging that McMahon had sexually assaulted him during the altercation. WWE countersued, claiming that Nailz had attempted to extort money from McMahon. Both lawsuits were eventually dropped. The Nailz incident remains a dark chapter in WWE history. It exposed the volatile nature of the wrestling business and the sometimes strained relationships between management and performers. While the exact details of the altercation remain disputed, it undoubtedly left a lasting impact on all involved and serves as a cautionary tale of how quickly professional disagreements can spiral out of control. The 2011 incident involving Finlay's dismissal from WWE remains a controversial topic among wrestling fans. Finlay, a respected veteran and seasoned backstage producer, found himself caught in the crossfire when a segment he oversaw went awry. The segment in question featured The Miz, who was riding a wave of heat as the WWE champion, disrespectfully interrupting the US national anthem. This act of deliberate provocation, intended to solidify The Miz's villainous persona, backfired spectacularly. The presence of numerous members of the armed forces in the audience amplified the gravity of the situation. The interruption was perceived not just as an insult to a wrestler, but as a blatant display of disrespect towards the nation and its military. This sparked outrage among fans and ignited a public relations firestorm for WWE. Vince McMahon, known for his swift and decisive action, took immediate steps to address the situation. While The Miz, as the on-screen talent, bore some responsibility, McMahon ultimately held Finlay accountable. As the producer in charge of the segment, Finlay was deemed to have failed in his duty to ensure its appropriateness and sensitivity. This led to his abrupt and unexpected dismissal from the company. The decision to fire Finlay was met with mixed reactions. Some understood the need for WWE to take decisive action and appease offended parties. Others, however, felt that Finlay was unfairly scapegoated for a creative decision that ultimately rested with higher authorities. They argued that Finlay, with his years of experience and understanding of the wrestling business, should have been given more leeway, perhaps a suspension or reprimand, rather than outright termination. After his firing from WWE, Finlay wrestled on the independent scene and returned to WWE a year later and currently works as a trainer and assistant coach at the WWE Performance Center. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the fine line WWE walks between entertainment and controversy. It also highlights the immense pressure faced by backstage producers, who are tasked with crafting compelling storylines while navigating the complexities of public perception and potential backlash. Finlay's firing, while controversial, underscores the high stakes involved in producing a global entertainment product like WWE, where even a momentary lapse in judgment can have significant repercussions. In 2010, a young Daniel Bryan found himself in hot water with WWE management after a segment on Raw went awry. As part of the debuting Nexus faction, Bryan was involved in a chaotic brawl that saw him choke ring announcer Justin Roberts with his own tie. This incident, while seemingly innocuous in the context of a wrestling show, caused a stir backstage. WWE had transitioned to a PG rating a few years prior, and the sight of Bryan legitimately choking Roberts on live television was deemed unacceptable by Vince McMahon and other executives. Days later, Roberts received word that Bryan had been fired. Initially assuming it was a storyline, Roberts was surprised to learn the next day that the firing was indeed legitimate. He reached out to Bryan to get his side of the story. Bryan explained that his dismissal stemmed from a strict no-choking rule imposed by Vince McMahon, a rule Bryan was apparently unaware of at the time. The incident highlights the challenges wrestlers face in navigating the blurred lines between performance and reality, particularly in a PG environment. While physicality is a core component of professional wrestling, certain actions, even those intended for entertainment purposes, can have unintended consequences. Fortunately for Bryan, his exile from WWE was short-lived. He was rehired later that summer, going on to achieve tremendous success and become one of the most beloved superstars in WWE history. The year 2001 marked a turning point in professional wrestling history. Vince McMahon, the mastermind behind WWE, solidified his dominance by acquiring his long-standing rival, WCW. This monumental acquisition brought many of WCW's top stars into the WWE fold. However, one prominent name was conspicuously absent from McMahon's plans: Jeff Jarrett. On the final episode of WCW Monday Nitro, a night filled with mixed emotions and historical significance, Vince McMahon delivered a shocking blow to Jarrett. In a move that blurred the lines between storyline and reality, McMahon publicly fired Jarrett, declaring that he had no place in the future of WWE. This abrupt dismissal left Jarrett stunned and confused. During an episode of his My World podcast, Jarrett admitted that he initially believed the firing was a carefully crafted storyline designed to generate buzz and stir controversy. He couldn't fathom that McMahon would dismiss him in such a public and unceremonious manner, especially given their past working relationship. Jarrett's disbelief stemmed from a previous encounter with McMahon. In 1999, Jarrett had negotiated a lucrative deal with WCW while still under contract with WWE. This bold move, while financially rewarding, ultimately led to his departure from WWE. However, despite claims that Jarrett held McMahon up for $150,000, Jarrett recalled that McMahon had handled the situation professionally, even presenting him with his check before his exit. This seemingly amicable parting led Jarrett to believe that there was no lingering animosity between them. McMahon's actions on that fateful night in 2001, however, shattered that perception. The public firing, delivered with cold finality, left Jarrett questioning his place in the wrestling world and the true nature of his relationship with Vince McMahon, and it led to the creation of TNA. Jarrett's public firing was a stark reminder of the unpredictable and often ruthless nature of the wrestling business, where even established stars can find themselves on the outside looking in. Jarrett went on to do big things outside of WWE. He launched the #2 wrestling promotion, and decades later he was welcomed back into the WWE family and he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Abraham Washington's WWE career ended in a blaze of controversy after a highly offensive remark during a live segment. While his time with the company wasn't particularly long, his sudden dismissal served as a stark reminder of the consequences that can follow inappropriate behavior, even in the realm of sports entertainment. Washington initially gained recognition in WWE's ECW brand as the host of The Abraham Washington Show, a talk show segment where he interviewed various wrestlers. His quick wit and sharp tongue made him an entertaining personality, often drawing genuine reactions from his guests. However, his career took a sharp downturn during a 2012 episode of Raw. While managing the tag team Primetime Players, Washington made an inappropriate and offensive joke referencing Kobe Bryant and the infamous sexual assault case against him. The comment immediately drew criticism from fans and commentators alike, and WWE swiftly took action. Within hours of the broadcast, WWE issued a public apology for Washington's remark, stating that it was unacceptable and did not reflect the company's values. Shortly after, it was announced that Washington had been released from his contract. While the offensive joke was the catalyst for his firing, it's worth noting that Washington had a history of pushing boundaries with his humor. He often incorporated controversial topics and edgy remarks into his segments which, while sometimes entertaining, occasionally veered into uncomfortable territory. Washington's release sparked debate about the power of social media and public pressure in holding individuals accountable for their words and actions. Despite his talent and potential, Abraham Washington's WWE career ended abruptly due to a single ill-conceived remark. His story serves as a cautionary tale of how quickly a promising career can be derailed by a lapse in judgment and the importance of choosing words carefully, especially in a public forum. Buff Bagwell's short-lived stint in WWE in 2001 is often regarded as one of the most bizarre and abrupt departures in wrestling history. A popular star in WCW, Bagwell was among the wrestlers who joined WWE after Vince McMahon purchased the rival company. However, his time in WWE was marred by controversy and ultimately ended in a swift dismissal. Bagwell's WWE debut took place on the July 2, 2001 episode of Raw, where he faced Booker T in a match that was poorly received by both fans and critics. The match was criticized for its lack of chemistry and awkward execution, failing to capture the excitement that surrounded the WCW invasion angle. However, the match itself wasn't the sole reason for Bagwell's downfall. Reports surfaced of backstage issues, including an alleged altercation with fellow wrestler Shane Helms, and rumors of Bagwell feigning an injury to avoid taking a powerbomb from the Acolytes Protection Agency. Adding to the controversy, it was alleged that Bagwell's mother contacted WWE officials requesting time off for her son due to injuries, a move that reportedly did not sit well with management. Ultimately, Bagwell was released by WWE just weeks after his debut. While the exact reasons for his firing remain somewhat shrouded in mystery, it's believed that a combination of factors contributed to his departure. His underwhelming debut match, coupled with alleged backstage issues and his mother's interference, painted a picture of a wrestler who was not a good fit for the WWE environment. Jim Ross, who was head of talent relations at the time, later stated on his podcast that Bagwell's partying habits and perceived lack of commitment also played a role in his release. Ross claimed that Vince McMahon didn't see much value in Bagwell as a performer and felt he wasn't dedicated to improving his craft. Bagwell's firing remains a cautionary tale of how quickly things can go wrong in the wrestling business. Despite his popularity in WCW, Bagwell failed to make a positive impression in WWE, and his brief stint is often remembered as a missed opportunity and a bizarre footnote in wrestling history. After his firing, Bagwell's life spiraled out of control with arrests stemming from his substance abuse issues. However, in recent years Bagwell has turned his life around, and with the help of Diamond Dallas Page, he is now sober from all drugs and alcohol. Jim Ross's 2013 firing from WWE was a controversial and somewhat confusing incident, largely stemming from a disastrous panel appearance featuring Ric Flair. While JR himself wasn't the main culprit, his inability to control the situation ultimately led to his dismissal. The incident took place at the WWE 2K14 video game panel at SummerSlam Access. Jim Ross was tasked with hosting the panel, which included Ric Flair. Unfortunately, Flair appeared to be intoxicated and proceeded to go on a rambling, often inappropriate tangent. He touched on sensitive topics like his son Reed's recent passing and made unprofessional comments about John Cena's alleged drinking habits. Ross, visibly uncomfortable with the situation, struggled to steer Flair back on track and maintain control of the panel. The whole event became an awkward spectacle, leaving the audience and WWE officials cringing. Although Flair's behavior was the primary cause of the debacle, Vince McMahon ultimately held Ross responsible. As the host, Ross was expected to maintain order and ensure a professional presentation. His failure to do so, combined with his own perceived lack of composure, some speculated that he too might have been under the influence, though he denied it, led to his swift dismissal. The firing was met with mixed reactions. Many felt that Ross was unfairly scapegoated for Flair's actions, arguing that it was unreasonable to expect him to control an intoxicated individual. Others, however, felt that Ross, as a seasoned professional, should have been better equipped to handle the situation. This incident marked the third time Jim Ross was fired by Vince McMahon, highlighting the complex and often volatile nature of their professional relationship. While Ross eventually returned to WWE in a limited capacity, the 2013 firing served as a reminder of the high standards and expectations placed upon WWE personnel, even in situations beyond their control. Is there someone who should be on this list? Have an idea for a future topic? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for checking out this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Until next time.